Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been a hilarious failure for Rocksteady and Sweet Baby Inc. And with the release of Season 1 in the Joker DLC, there were some people holding out hope that they would listen to our feedback and really try to tweak the game in a way that would make people happy, but unfortunately that has not happened because not only has the Joker DLC faced a lot of scrutiny because of its grindy or just swipe your credit card nature, but also, judging by the player numbers, it has failed to bring players back. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. Now, I did play Suicide Squad the entirety of the campaign at launch, and it was a nightmare. I was expecting the gameplay to at least be decent, maybe a lot of the map to be good, but overall, there was really nothing that I could praise with this game except for the voice cast, which of course makes sense given a lot of the previous voice actors from the rest of the Arkhamverse games were in this, but the rest of the game was just a massive nightmare, and it was really no surprise to see why. Rocksteady is a shell of the company they once were. A lot of the people who worked on those original Arkhamverse games are no longer on the team, and then of course we had Sweet Baby Inc. giving their input, so it just was a nightmare all around, and we of course have been eagerly awaiting the Season 1 release and the Joker DLC release to see if they somehow could turn this game around and bring not only players who already purchased it back, but new gamers into the title, but that just did not happen, and I bet that they are freaking out behind the scenes because the DLC has finally released, and at its peak, it pulled in only 3,000 concurrent Steam players with the update. Now, of course, out of all of the Arkhamverse games, this had the worst all-time peak in general on Steam. As you can see, 13,459, and this was on release day, and it has not hit those numbers since. And with the Joker DLC, the maximum amount of players that they were able to pull in at once was a measly 3,000. You would expect at least half of this 13,000 number, at least, 5K, 6K, but they just were not able to, bring people back to this game. And even though I own a copy, I have not played this Joker DLC, and I would dread having to reload up this game just because of how bad the base experience was. Now, even before this launched, we saw controversy surrounding Season 1 because fans were angry over the grindy Joker DLC. Basically, you could grind through old content to obtain this DLC, and that's the way that they had initially marketed the Joker update, right? Is that it's completely free, you don't have to pay for anything, all of the future updates and seasons were going to be free, but you either had to spend hours upon hours upon hours grinding that old content to earn the Joker, or of course you could conveniently swipe your credit card for $10, and we've seen this, of course, in many video game releases where they expect you to get so sick and tired of grinding that you'll just cough up the money and swipe your credit card for the $10, which just isn't okay. It should basically be the day that Season 1 launches, you get the Joker for free, or you get the first quest and maybe a series of like 4 quests in order to obtain him, but that's not what they decided to do. And of course, this infuriated players, never mind the fact that people were already angry that they wasted their money when it initially came out. And, yeah, they really just don't understand what it is that consumers want, but of course, they don't actually really care. I mean, they barreled ahead with the release of this game, even though they delayed it by a full year after backlash from the initial teasers and trailers, and they didn't change, it seems, like a single thing. They said, oh, the combat system was going to be overhauled, and they were going to be working on the graphics, and they really wanted to make it this this big immersive experience, but it just was a massive failure. And now, only a few days after the release of this season 1 in Joker DLC, it is barely pulling in 1,000 players, and overnight it actually had dipped all the way back down to 600. And as you can see, I mean, it was only maxing out at about 500 players leading up to the season 1 update, and then it did, you know, uptick to about 3,000, but it has been a steady decline over the past few days, which is hilarious to see and also so pathetic. It's pathetic because while this game is just a complete dumpster fire, they didn't try to make a game that people actually wanted. They made a game that they wanted to make, that they felt confident in. And yes, to a certain extent, you need to make a product that you're confident in, because if you're not confident in it, nobody else is going to like it. But they really, over the years, since this was announced, didn't care about what fans of this, you know, universe, the Arkhamverse, actually wanted. And of course, I mean, it's a live service game, so it was always going to struggle. Whenever people hear live service, we instantly get nervous. But then you have live service and these just very scummy monetization methods on top of a cringeworthy cast with extremely woke dialogue and lots of narratives like environmentalism shoved into your face. And the Joker, oh, the Joker is like a theater kid playing the Joker. Like, you hired a theater kid and this is what they think the people want. And it is just so cringe-worthy. When I think of the Joker, I think of evil, I think of maniacal. I don't think of some ditzy doofus who's running around going, oh God, moving is so hard, it's so hard to make new friends. Like, that's just not funny, and it's not the Joker that I and many other people wanted. It feels very Saints Row reboot Joker. Like, they have this band of misfits that are socially awkward, but that's just not the cast of characters that I would want to play in my video game. And clearly other people didn't, given the fact that Warner Brothers Games even came out not even a month after launch and said that this game was a failure in their eyes. It did not do exactly what they were expecting, and judging by the season 1 numbers, they were not able to either get new players to purchase this game, even though it's already at a hefty discount, and they were not even able to get in players who already spent their hard-earned money on this game, because not only do you have to expect people to, you know, continue to play the game, you also have to expect them to want to put their time and their effort into this game, and it's not even worth the time sink to play this just very mediocre game. It's one of the worst, if not the worst rated game that I personally have had to stream on this channel. It was such a big disappointment, and I honestly think that it's great to see it doing so poorly, because usually I say, you know, if you like this game and I don't, that's great. I hope you play it, I hope you enjoy it, and I still do. But at the same time, it is amazing to see this new Rocksteady get a taste of their own medicine and also have another Sweet Baby Inc. failure, because every game that Sweet Baby Inc. touches turns to shit, and it's fantastic to see another to prove that Sweet Baby is not healthy for the industry or the games that it's touching, but Sweet Baby Inc. is simply toxic. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.